Do you feel tired? Do you find yourself constantly overwhelmed by the amounts of work you have to do? But do you also end your days feeling like you haven't done much at all? Feeling like your to-do list just goes on and on and on while you just stay in place, fearing for what's to come? Well, then you might be experiencing burnout. Hi, I'm Adriana, and today we're going to talk about burnout at work. Burnout is a state of mental, emotional, and physical exhaustion brought on by chronic unresolved stress. It can happen to anyone in any setting, but it's most often seen in the workplace. The World Health Organization included burnout in its international classification of diseases in 2019 and marked it as an occupational phenomenon. Unfortunately, people are often oblivious when it comes to their own burnout and often insist they're quite fine. It's just another rough week, right? Well, a couple of days, maybe even a week of stress is one thing, but if you're on your 17th stressful week and there's no end in sight, you're definitely on your way to burnout. That's why it's so important to admit that you're burning out and take steps towards recovery. But how can you do that? Well, we'll cover 7 steps and 7 tips that will help you along the way. But before we start, keep in mind that it's especially important that you tackle your burnout-inducing issues if you're a leader of a team. After all, to create a truly positive work culture, you have to lead by example. If you're handling your tasks in a healthy way and creating a work-life balance for yourself, and make no mistake, people around you will pick up on this, you'll be empowering the members of your team to do the same. Also, keep in mind that research shows that companies with burnt-out employees have lower job satisfaction, employee engagement and levels of performance, higher turnover, absenteeism, and medical costs. All in all, not addressing burnout can cost a company a lot in more ways than one. Back to the steps and tips. To begin your burnout recovery, you first have to distance yourself from the stresses. And by this, I don't mean take a short coffee break before tackling your next task. I mean take a real break. Go on that longer vacation you've been postponing. Also, give yourself a break by delegating tasks and arranging for longer deadlines. Burnout isn't something that will just pass on its own. You have to take care of yourself by getting enough sleep, designating enough time for activities that aren't work-related, and prioritizing your mental health. Seeking help and guidance from a medical professional is also the way to go. You don't have to overhaul your entire life to get rid of burnout, but you have to see what's truly important to you and what you need to get to be happy. Will your stresses bring you happiness? Probably not. Burnout happens when work consumes our life so much we don't have time for anything else. To get rid of it, we have to place some boundaries in order to maintain a better work-life balance. Not taking on additional tasks and not attending scheduled meetings after work hours are a couple of ways to do this. Once you figure out what you need to be happy, you can improve your overall situation by going after it. Don't be afraid to reach out of your comfort zone to do so. That might be where happiness lies. Okay, I know I said you should step out of your comfort zone and go after what makes you happy, but don't feel pressure to do it immediately. Accept that burnout recovery doesn't happen overnight. It will take some time, but every change you make, no matter how small, is a step in the right direction. We already mentioned seeking help from medical professionals, but the people around you can also play a part in your recovery. Burnout makes us feel alone and desperate, and that makes fighting it so much harder. So don't do it alone. Reach out for support from friends, family, co-workers. Don't be afraid to ask for help at work and outside of it. So these 7 steps will definitely help you fight burnout. But following them is a lot of work, especially when you're already feeling defeated. I bet just listening to me go on and on about changes left you feeling overwhelmed. Huh? Don't worry, I came prepared. We have 7 tips that will make following these steps much easier. Read more on burnout in the blog post that inspired this video by following the link we pinned in the comments section below. Tip number 1 is to try to avoid getting overwhelmed. The first rule of burnout is go slow. Didn't happen overnight, so you won't fix it overnight either. If you try to do too much too quickly, you'll get overwhelmed and fall into your old ways, those that brought on the burnout in the first place. Start by making a few small changes and stick to them before introducing new ones. For example, you can set limits to your working hours to avoid overworking yourself. If you use Pumble, a team communication app, you can completely disconnect from work by muting or pausing notifications during your breaks and after hours. Just take the time off you need to rest at home and work distraction-free without having to sacrifice the effectiveness of communication with teammates. Tip number 2, rest. If you're experiencing burnout, you're probably functioning on a few hours of sleep, convinced that your endless supply of iced lattes will keep you awake and productive. But you know it won't. Not in the long run. Nothing can substitute a good night's sleep. So help yourself by establishing a good nighttime routine and getting sufficient number of hours of sleep every night. Spoiler alert, by that I mean at least 7 or 8, not 4. Tip 3, let go of the guilt. I have no time to rest, you say. I have to finish my tasks, you say. Okay, but hear me out. What happens if you don't? People will realize you're incompetent, right? That you're just an imposter who's just pretending they're capable. Right. Except that's not even remotely true. That's your burnout talking. It has a way of making us think we're only valuable and worthy if we're productive all the time. That's why some of us, I won't say who, cleans their apartments obsessively on their off days. When we're experiencing burnout, we often don't give ourselves the opportunity to rest. Or when we do, we feel like we're doing something we shouldn't, like resting is wrong. Ditch that notion right now. Try to look at the situation objectively and cut yourself some slack. Would you fault someone else for prioritizing themselves and their mental health in your situation? No? Then why do it to yourself? Tip number 4, finding joy. Stop me if you've heard this before. You take on too much, fail to complete it, feel terrible about yourself, and think you must be doing a terrible job. Then you take no time to rest and try to tackle even more tasks to prove you are better than that. You, of course, get the same results again. Sounds familiar? Yeah, I bet it does. Burnout makes us think the worst of ourselves. That's why finding joy outside of work is one of the most significant steps in burnout recovery. It can help you get rid of that false belief that you're ineffective and incapable. So take up a new hobby or return to an old one. Anything to get you away from work after hours. Tip number 5, take back control. When you're in burnout, everything at work seems like it's falling apart. So, to help yourself, you have to take some of that control back, but not at work. That would only make the problem worse. Instead, like I already mentioned, take up some activities outside of work where you feel in total control. Are you a good baker? Get to making muffins every Saturday. Are you a good organizer? Offer some help to your friends and organize their wardrobes or spare rooms. These activities don't have to be groundbreaking. They're just supposed to make you feel like you're doing something well. Tip 6. Get organized. Burnout often creeps up on us when we're overworked or overwhelmed by tasks. And while Saturday muffin baking might bring joy and some control over your life, it won't solve your issues with the tasks that will wait for you on Monday. So, try to organize your workload. Break tasks down into manageable pieces and set realistic deadlines. Aside from that, it might also benefit you to learn to say no. If you have too much on your plate, it might be because people keep putting stuff there and you're not saying anything. So learn how to politely but firmly say, "Get away from my plate, it's full." Tip number 7. Reach out. Finally, be vocal about your state. This cannot be stressed enough. Don't suffer in silence. Ask for help. Tell your superior how you're feeling. Encourage others to do the same. Burnout is a big issue and it can happen to anyone, anytime. But finding a good social support network, maintaining a healthy work-life balance, seeking medical help when needed, and perhaps Most importantly, going easy on yourself will make a big difference. And that's it for today. If you liked this video and you'd like to see more like it, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to see what else we have in store for you.